I love you as well. The historic Lotus Historic Pack was released for Project Cars last week. I recorded this on the day the pack came out, and so here we see, I believe this is the Lotus 49C. Wasn't able to take down all the details. I'm away for a few days at the moment, so just had to quickly record this late at night and do a few laps in both the dry and wet conditions. This is running on 100% AI at the moment, and running these old cars is always a slightly different challenge, but it's nice to see the different version of Silverstone and these new classic tracks. Now, at the time of making this video, I haven't played Hockenheim or Rouen yet. I will play them when I get back, probably next week, try out some of the different cars as well. But it's great to see these circuits. Obviously I've raced this circuit before. Those who have watched the channel for a long time will remember Ferrari Challenge, and I did a bit of racing then as well. I felt more like James Hunt, just hammering it round. And there's some tricky corners, some late apexes to look at in terms of just getting your line in right progressively on the power through the exit, coming round and up to the sort of the old bridge corner, if you like. And this is, I find, the trickiest corner on the lap. I lift a little bit there and then gently slow. You see the back end steps out. It's always a little bit risky going through that corner the faster you go. So sometimes I find just trying to get the braking right in this final chicane through the complex, bit late on the entry there, and then that delayed me slightly through the exit. Very tricky in terms of wheel spin. You want to shift up a bit, I find. A bit too much wheel spin, you can spin out very easily through there. Stowe, as it was, a late entry, so it's a late apex. On the current corner it's an early apex and a wide exit. This is slightly different. You've got a late apex and going into the whole Maggots and sort of Beckett section. It's different here, much wider, taking you in down into the long straight into Stowe. So the parts of the circuit are very similar, and parts of it have changed significantly. Obviously running the triple screens here gives a wonderful feeling of being in the car. I'm not a million miles ahead of the other cars. I'm a few seconds ahead of them here. But they were putting up a decent challenge in case you make a mistake. But generally speaking, as long as you put in some decent lap times, they could go an awful lot quicker. So AI-wise, still needs a bit of work there. But either way, I was really enjoying this run. I'm going to test out some of the other new cars when I get back. And I'm lifting more through there this time because I can. I think when you're on the limit, you're really moving the car around a lot. You know, again, just another example of being able to move your FOV so it suits you perfectly in the car you're driving. You know, from my viewpoint, the controls are all perfectly set up for me. And nice to see my mirrors. I've lowered myself a bit in the car compared to usual, just so I can get the mirrors there. Nice detail in the mirrors. So this late apex on turn one is actually quite tricky. Always trying to perfect it a little bit, but if you oversteer and you clip the curbs on the inside, that's really bad for you. It can unbalance the car considerably, and you can find yourself really struggling on that exit. That corner we just went through as well, the long left-hander, that also is very tricky sometimes. If you oversteer just a little bit into that corner, the car can spin out very quickly. Best advice is to hit the brakes very quickly in case the car starts to slide out of control, because once it starts tank slapping, you really will struggle to regain control. Again, late apex into Stowe. Seems to be the way the course is set up, basically. Giving yourself a nice line on the exit. Now, I certainly need to do more laps and look at the times too in terms of optimizing when to gear change here. The car revs up and then just spins the wheels. So I found in general, you just want to shift up a little bit earlier. Use the revs down there. That's it. Nice and early this time. That gives me a much straighter line on the exit. And you're getting quite close to the inside on the final part of that complex. Now it's been noted on forum, the Project Cars forum, that the complex is possibly a bit too large in terms of how far it indents. Sort of a squashed version, if you like. I'd sort of be tend to agree it does look slightly shorter than the or squash, should I say, compared to the real course. So in terms of its 100% accuracy, I think all the detail is there, but there might be an issue in terms of scale, ever so slightly. But overall, it's wonderful to see these old courses, and it's great to see courses as DLC. You know, so many racing games for so long, they've been supplying us with lots of cars, and we've been saying, well, we've got loads of cars, we don't want more cars, we've got the cars we like driving, we just want more courses, relevant courses to drive them on. And here, you know, Project Cars is just doing a good job yet again. They've come out with these historic cars, historic courses, you know, doing what people want to see, and that's great, while also improving the game in a number of ways as well. So really great to get on there and see how this evolves. And you know, when I played this, I haven't played much recently, you know, catching up with some of the retro titles and everything else, and Need for Speed. I haven't got Need for Speed yet, but playing the previews obviously, and the crew, and I get back in this and I just immediately felt at home. I thought, you know, I'm really enjoying this driving now. Final lap now said something to me there about pushing harder, and then I go and miss my braking. It's a very sort of thin line between being quick and just overdoing it, and sort of overdoing it slightly there. Again, this is a tricky braking, so I don't really have braking markers on all of these corners yet. I'm using visual braking, so it means my laps aren't necessarily as consistent as they would be. You know, when you have good visual braking markers, you know, they're really good in terms of getting those corners spot on every time. At the moment I'm trying different lines, I'm trying different gears, I'm trying different ways into the corners, working my way around. So the Lotus pack is a great addition, I think. You know, some great cars, old cars in there. I need to test all of those. Physics wise, we're going to talk about that more in another video. I still don't think there's enough sort of roll in the car in terms of suspension leaning and the tyres actually biting, gripping the surface. You know, that's something in classic racing which I would like to see, is how much they lean on those tyres. But we're coming around the final corner now. That's it for this video. Another one coming up in wet weather conditions, and there'll be more from me very soon.